Hi fam, how are you? Today I am coming at you with my February TBR. I have to in my brain, I was like, shit, we're already in Feb. This is crazy, but it's fine. Um, we are essentially in February. I am participating in 3 readathons, and this is very exciting because 2 of them are sort of connected, and the third one is hosted by 2 really good friends of mine. So I'm very excited. But let's just get into what these readathons are and what books I plan to read for them. And yeah, I will. It's gonna be a fun time because as you'll see. But okay, first off, the first readathon that I am participating in is the Blackathon. So this is the third year that this is happening, and it was hosted by Gyasi at Bowties and Books, and I absolutely love them and what they do. I participated in the queer Blackathon, which happened in June, and I vlogged that entire experience, and I found some amazing books through it. So I definitely wanted to participate in this one because I am a trash for readathons. I love readathons. I feel like they push me into picking up books which I normally wouldn't. And yeah, so I will first talk about the Blackathon. So now Blackathon is essentially they have various prompts and they have various themes. So there's a SFF team, which is science fiction and fantasy. There is a thrillers and mysteries team, and I will link you to the entire video and them explaining all of it. But I was planning to take part in the contemporary fiction and non-fiction team, which is headed by one of my favorites, Ashley from the Bookish Realm. So yeah, there's a whole thing going on. So it's very intriguing and very exciting. And I have all the prompts here as well as the books here. But let me just tell you what the prompts are. So the first prompt is Maisie card. So it's all named after a famous black person related to this particular prompt, if I'm not mistaken. But which is very, very cool. And clearly there's a lot of thought put into it. Also, I have to add that there is an overall theme to this readathon as well, which is travelers. So you could be going through a physical journey or a spiritual or I don't know, realization. I don't know, you know what I mean? So it's fine. So it's essentially that's the whole idea. And the first prompt is Maisie Card, a book that takes place over one character's lifespan or an intergenerational narrative. And for this, I chose Homegoing by Gyasi. I'm holding it upside down, my bad. But this is a book that I've been planning to read for so long now, and I think it's high time that I finally get onto it. Essentially, this book is starts off in Ghana, where 2 sisters end up leading some very, very different lives, whereas one is sold into the slave trade and the other one gets married and moves to the US. And essentially you see their lives as well as their descendants and the women that are there. And I just think that this is going to be really interesting because I've had some friends who said really amazing things about it, some not so much, but I'm still excited to read this, and it's also very, very beautiful, so that's helpful. But yeah, this is the first book. The second prompt is Patsy. 2 queer characters embark on a journey together. Bonus points if it's a tangible journey, such as a road trip. Now, I could have read Patsy, which is a book that I want to read. However, I wanted to choose books that are already on my bookshelf. So for that, I chose Girl, Woman, Other by Bernadine Evaristo. This was a book that won the Booker Prize in 2019, and it essentially follows the lives of various black women as well as non-binary people in London or the UK, if I'm not mistaken, and various parts of the world. And you kind of see their journey through it all. And I think from what I see on the thing that it speaks about going from Nigeria to another part in the UK, and like I don't know. So I'm assuming that this works out and fits the prompt. It is a little bit of a hard sell, but well, it's fine. But I've heard really, really good things about this one. I've heard that it really challenges form when it does not have like any punctuation and stuff like that. So that's definitely going to be interesting. But I actually haven't heard a single bad thing about this book. So I'm really, really excited to finally get into it. And yeah. The third prompt is Neddy Okorafor, which is a disabled character embarks on a journey or a book by a black disabled author. And for this one, I chose Out of My Mind by Sharon M. Draper. And this is a book that I've been wanting to read for a while because this essentially follows the life of a girl who has cerebral palsy, and she can't really like speak and communicate, but she has a photogenic memory, and essentially it's about how her stream of consciousness about what's happening and how she's dealing with like school and like people around her and stuff like that. And I just think, and I've heard like really, really good things about it. And it kind of reminded me of Flowers for Algernon, which I again really liked. So I am looking forward to reading this one, and I've heard that Sharon M. Draper is just a fantastic author, so I can't wait. And I think that this is also young adultish. So there's that. So those are those three prompts fulfilled. However, the fourth prompt is a group book, which is The Secret Lives of Baba Seji's Wives. And this is a book that I'm gonna have to buy. So let's see at during this month if I actually get down and doing it, because I am trying in Feb to not buy so many books, as you will see in my January book haul, I think, which I'm gonna do because yeah. Anyway, so that's the whole thing. Moving on to then the Black Lit Challenge, which is hosted by Seji from Artisanal Geek, who also is absolutely amazing. They just do have the best like reviews and recommendations, and is always like just so creative. But their readathon is like slightly like easier in terms of like essentially it's just a point system, and essentially it's like if you read from another country, like each country that you read from you get a point for. So if you've read, for example, and she explains it much better than I do, but like for example, if you read 3 books set in the US, then you still just get 1 point. However, if you read a book set in the UK and then Ghana, and then like Out of Your Mind is set in the US, then that's 3 points, and the idea is to get 4 points. And you can get additional points by like being like getting a disabled character, or getting a book which is about LGBTQ characters, and stuff like that. So that's really interesting as well. But for that, the additional books that I really want to read is Welcome to Lagos by Chibundu Onuzo. And this is set in Nigeria, and essentially we follow, and I'm just going to read from the flap here, but it says 5 runaways ride the bus from Bay Elsa, I should have googled this before, to a better life in a mega city. They are unlikely allies: a private, a housewife, an officer, a militant, and a young girl. They share a need to escape and dream for the future. Soon they will also share a burden none could have expected. In the city ahead, scandal will fall in their laps, and they will have to decide whether to pass on their knowledge or distrust what they've heard. Should they choose morality and truth in the chaos of a city where you have to fight to flourish? From now on, the 5 sit quietly with their hopes as the billboards fly by and shout, Welcome to Lagos. And that's just really exciting. This book actually featured in this video that I did with my mom where she tried to make me guess the book through describing the cover, which was a really fun time. So if you want to check that out, I will link that up and down. But yeah, I am excited to read this. I've had this for a while, and I'm just happy to get to it. Another book that I really want to read is a nonfiction, and that is The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin. This is a book that I've heard really, really good things about, and is essentially James Baldwin's um, essay of sorts about like his impassioned plea to stop racism and just like his thoughts and all of that sort of stuff, which I think is again unfortunately very timely. But I'm just excited to read his thoughts because I think that he is a very impassioned author. I've read just one of his books before, but I'm excited to read like all of them if I could. And yeah, so this is the fifth one. The third readathon is the TBR Tackle, which is hosted by Key from Books and Key and Jyotsna from Jyotsna's Bookscapades. And I am so excited about this because these two are like one of my bestest friends on booktube. They are just the most fun and just the nicest people who read amazing books. But they came up with this readathon, which is essentially the idea is to read books from your current TBR.
And as we can see, I have quite a few to choose from.
So I'm gonna try to like read books just from the books that I have. They have multiple prompts, and essentially you don't have to do all of them. It's quite a chill readathon, wherein you don't really have to choose like to do all of the prompts, but like if you want to, you can double up, you can do all of that sort of stuff. So that's basically the idea. And I'll start off with one of the prompts, and which is a classic, which I am choosing this one, The Fire Next Time. So that's great because I've already spoken about this. For the prompt of nonfiction, I plan to read The Good Girls and Ordinary Killing by Sonia Faleiro, and this is a book that has just come out and was gifted to me by the publisher, so thanks. But this is a really interesting story that I'm really excited to kind of get into because it's kind of true crimey. Essentially what happened is that in 2014 there was this image of these two like young girls who were found hanging from a tree in a village in Uttar Pradesh, which is a state in India, and people were just like, what happened to her, what happened to these girls, and essentially people were like, oh, she was killed, they were killed because they were from a lower caste, etc. And Sonia Faleiro was writing a book, and she wanted to write about various different like caste-based killings essentially. So she decided to come to India and go to this village and find out more about it. She's also a journalist, so like that's what she does. And essentially then what happens is that they find out that it wasn't really what it originally was thought to be, and it turned out to be darker and weirder and not what everyone thought it was. So it's kind of like really, really intriguing, and I really want to know what happened. So I'm excited to really get into this one ASAP. For the prompts of BIPOC, which is Black, Indigenous, or Person of Color, and a genre that I love, I chose Murder at the Mushaira, which basically combines two genres which I love, which is like a thriller mystery plus historical fiction, because this book, which is gorgeous by the way, is set in 1857 in India, during the first ever like war of independence of sorts that the Indians had against the British colonizers. And essentially there is a Mushaira is like a symposium where people come together and like read poetry, etc., etc. And essentially they somehow, so I didn't want to read too much about what the book is because I don't want to know too much about the book before I get into it, because I don't want to be like spoiled even by mistake. But essentially there is a dead poet that is found, and we're trying to figure out who murdered this poet, with the background of like the first ever independence struggle that took place. And I just think that is really, really interesting, and I just cannot wait to read this. And yeah, it's just, oh my god. For the prompts of translation and short stories, I have chosen Perumal Murugan's Four Strokes of Luck. And this is a short story collection, of course, by Perumal Murugan, which is translated from Tamil to English. And this is his latest book, which I am so very excited about. I am a huge fan of Perumal Murugan. He writes some of the most interesting characterizations, and I just feel automatically transported to whichever place he kind of writes about, which is mostly like rural Tamil places. Um, but I really, really like the way he writes and what he has to say. So I am really excited to read this one. The next prompts that I am combining is tome and a LGBTQ plus author or character. And for that, I am finally going to read A Little Life by Hanya Yanigahara. So this book I was supposed to read back in October, but I was on holiday and I tried to read it and I got a little depressed. So I was like, nope, I'm on holiday. I'm not gonna like put myself through this. So instead, I'm gonna read this on Valentine's Day. Yep. I just figured I'm like alone and like sad. I'm not sad, but I just figured I'm alone and I'm like people. I don't know. I just wanted to get into like some sadness. Okay, I just figured that everyone's gonna get into like love, and I'll just get into like pure depression, heartbreak, because that's what this book apparently does. Now, I have avoided any kind of information about this book, so I will not have too much to tell you about it, but this is a book that is hailed as one of the most heartbreaking books of all times, in which it just like tears your heart into pieces, and that is what I am all about right now. Essentially, it follows four friends and their friendship and what happens with them through their lives, I think. And I am just intrigued and I'm also anticipating the heartbreak. So I'm going to vlog that, which is going to be interesting because I just think that it's going to be montages of me crying because I cry at basically everything. So now I'm scared. Will I cry? Will I not cry? Because I am preparing myself to cry. So will that automatically make me not cry because I'm preparing myself? I don't know. I really do not know. But I've heard that it's also beautiful writing. And obviously, if it's made so many people feel a certain way, it's obviously good writing. So yeah, that is my TBR. I also plan to read some romance novels because it is Feb, and I feel like after reading A Little Life, I will need some cleansing in my life where hopefully it doesn't put me in a slump, which it has for a lot of other people, because you just get so sad after reading it that you just don't feel like reading anything else. But I have a plan, and I am going to read some romance novels, and I probably might vlog that as well. So let's just see how things go. But meanwhile, this is my TBR. I'm excited. There are some really promising reads here all around. And yeah, there's some really great readathons that I'm participating in. Do let me know from this list if there is a particular like book that you want me to do a standalone review for, because I will be reviewing all my books in my wrap-ups, but I'm also trying to do standalone reviews for certain books. So if there is something from here that definitely stands out to you, then let me know. I will be reviewing A Little Life for sure because I will be vlogging that journey, but apart from that, if there is any other book, then let me know if you want me to do something on YouTube. But that is about it. Let me know if you are participating in any of these readathons, or if you are reading any of these books, or want to read any of these books, or what are you reading in February. I would love to know. Do comment down below, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye!